Sukuna, the GOAT, the king of all curses, a guy so strong that even his domain expansion malevolent shrine, which doesn't have an outer barrier, is deemed to be a godly ability that is impossible to do. The guy dominated the Heian era in his time and is now dominating again in the modern era. The guy is an absolute beast. Even Gojo himself, the self-proclaimed honored one, even mentioned in chapter 236 that he couldn't get Sukuna to use his full power. He even admitted that even Sukuna without the 10 shadows probably would have won. So the strongest guy in the modern era is saying, yeah, this guy Sukuna, he is that guy. I've made plenty of videos on how I think the series will end, but I don't know about you guys, but I'm at a point now where I actually think Sukuna should win. Think about it, guys. All the plans that the Jujutsu sorcerers have come up with, whether it was Gojo going at him 1v1, or if they tried to use Hikuruma's deadly sentencing to deplete Sukuna's cursed energy, or even our two main protagonists, Yuji and Yuta, ganging up on him with Maki doing a sneak attack. Whatever plan they have cooked up with, Sukuna had an answer for it, and my main worry is that if Sukuna were to be defeated, it might be a bullshit reason why he gets defeated. Sukuna is at that point where no one has a chance in defeating him 1v1, so it has to be a team effort. I would love to have seen Yuji be the one to defeat him 1v1, and that could still happen. We still haven't seen Yuji's domain expansion, so that could be the final trump card to fully defeat Sukuna. I have a few theory videos on what I think Yuji's domain expansion could be, so do go and check those videos out if you haven't already. And I still believe that Yuji has another hidden curse technique which is being saved, so I think Yuji still has a hand to play in this fight against Sukuna. But if you truly analyze the story, and especially this arc, ever since the Gojo vs Sukuna fight, realistically no one should be on the same level as Sukuna now. If Gojo himself said that he couldn't push Sukuna to use his full strength back when Sukuna wasn't even in his Heian era form, what makes you think any of these characters who are far weaker than Gojo have a chance of defeating Sukuna in his prime Heian era form? And the amount of people Sukuna is defeating left, right and center, it's come to the point where I'm thinking Sukuna actually deserves the win here because he has an answer for everything, whether if it's with the ability to use Fuga by having a binding vow, or if he has to use a different hand gesture in order for him to use a different part of his brain for him to use his domain expansion. There's always a counter that Sukuna has, and just like in traditional Jujutsu Kaisen style, the guy is getting ganged up on and against all these Jujutsu sorcerers, and he's just chilling. Urame even says to Hakari that they should be ashamed that the strongest fighter they had on their side was Gojo. So that in itself should show the level Sukuna is at compared to everyone else. So on merit for me, even though he is the bad guy, I feel he put in the most work and actually deserves the win more than the actual good guys. But is it really a bad thing? Would him being the final winner of the story, would that be a detriment to the legacy and story of Jujutsu Kaisen? Or would it be an actual surprising twist that actually keeps the shonen genre refreshing? Jujutsu Kaisen is a dark story. You can make the argument that it's more of a seinen story than a typical shonen story. Jujutsu Kaisen goes away from the traditional adventure, carefree, live your life to the fullest themes that the shonen genre would usually preach to its audience. Jujutsu Kaisen's main character's endgame goal is to die. So automatically, it's a completely different type of story to the other action-adventure shonens. Jujutsu Kaisen does have amazing action and fights, so it's definitely an action series, but it's not a typical happy-go-lucky adventure story. It's a very dark, gory, gruesome series with elements of horror as well. Go to chapter 209 and go to pages 14 and 15. You see the cursed spirit from your nightmares. And unlike most action-adventure shonens, we have a lot of characters dying in this series, whether they are good or bad. Take a series like One Piece, for example. It would be something significant or a game-changing moment for the story of One Piece in order for Oda to kill off a major character in the story. Tami kills off characters left, right and center. Even arguably his most popular character in Gojo, he killed off, and even before he killed him off, he sealed him away for a few years real time, whilst the manga was still going on ahead without him. But yeah, so what I'm saying is that Jujutsu Kaisen isn't the typical shonen anime, so I think we shouldn't expect for it to end in a typical shonen way, with a happy ending with a time skip, seeing our main characters growing old and having kids. No, I don't think that's the ending we will be getting. There's a big chance we may get Sukuna winning at the end of the story. Now, what could be the potential flaws of having Sukuna be the one standing strong whilst all the other Jujutsu sorcerers are all finished? Game over. I think for us fans, Seeing our heroes have that triumph over evil, especially after such a long and brutal battle against Sukuna, and the amount of Jujutsu sorcerers that have died in the process, it will bring that relief that yes, we finally did it. We beat the strongest being to have ever lived, and the world is now safe from his evil. Us fans will get that gratification with sticking by and seeing how much our heroes have sacrificed in order to defeat the strongest being in history in Sukuna. That same satisfaction of seeing our heroes triumph and win will be gone now, as we essentially have the evil one be the victor. And because of that, fans won't see the payoff of the sacrifice that the Jujutsu sorcerers have made in this fight against Sukuna. And with characters like Yuji, Yuta, and Gojo, who we have been following since the beginning of the story, just to see them all die in the end, it's like following your favorite sports team go all the way to the final and lose. It will leave that hollow feeling, a feeling of doom for the world of Jujutsu Kaisen, which may feel like an anticlimax because we had Sukuna win and beat all the characters that we were rooting for and following since the beginning. So these things may be the reason why having Sukuna be the winner in the end might be a bad thing. But having said all of that, how cool would it be to have Sukuna win and actually have a spin-off series about how Sukuna rules the world and is basically king of the world, with the cursed spirits now taking over as the superior race? It could be something like from the Planet of the Apes films, where you had humanity be the dominant species, but then with the rise of Caesar came the rise of the apes, and thanks to a deadly plague, the apes managed to be the dominant race, whilst the humans have now been scattered all over and became the apes' personal subjects that they can take the piss out of. The humans have also lost all sense of their being and have become a primitive form of themselves. I could actually picture something like this happening if Sukuna were to win. Sukuna has the title of King of all curses, just like how Caesar was basically the king of all apes when he was alive. Sukuna is basically the evil version of Caesar. His mere presence alone can destabilize the entire Jujutsu world and empower the cursed spirits to take over, even though Sukuna has never stated that he wanted the cursed spirits to be the dominant race. Yogo's words in chapter 116 saying that we are the true humans, suggesting that he believed that the earth belonged to the cursed spirits as they are the true humans. Other cursed spirits may also have that same level of thinking like Jogo, but because they lack the power to act on it, they still remain in the shadows, avoiding being exorcised by the Jujutsu sorcerers. This is where Sukuna comes in. Him defeating the strongest Jujutsu sorcerers currently will open the floodgates for the cursed spirits to take control and be the dominant race. So that world of seeing the cursed spirits rule Earth, that can actually happen at the end of the story. It's similar to how Gojo's birth tipped the balance of power back into the hands of the Jujutsu sorcerers. Well, this is the reverse of that. Sukuna defeating the strongest Jujutsu sorcerers in Japan will fully tip the balance of power to the cursed spirits. It's not even a contest at that point, it's the inevitable, and I would actually love to see how things would play out if this type of ending were to happen. Because there are still Jujutsu sorcerers out there in the world, they're just not as strong as the Japanese sorcerers. But anyway, let me go over to you guys. What do you guys think? Do you think Sukuna winning at the end of the story is a bad thing? If so, comment your reasons why down below. And as your tribal chief always says, don't forget to subscribe to the Shaman Tribe.